joining us in the studio this morning is Dr. Themba Nyoni. Now, Dr. Themba Nyoni is a lead consultant and technical advisor. He is a primary school trained educationalist and has 35 years of experience in the education sector across the board. He is also the CEO, founder of Baobab. We were fighting though with him. I said it's Baobab, not Baobab.
It's Baobab, yeah.
Tomato. Anyways, he is the founder of that. And today we have him in the studio and we're going to be discussing everything education, because I believe strongly that this is really a great pillar, especially for the next generation coming up. And we do have a lot of questions. Obviously, there's been a cabinet meeting about some of the new things that are coming up with the education curriculum in the country. But for this morning, Dr. Themba Nyoni, good morning.
Good morning, Marisa. Good morning, Andy.
Morning, sir. Welcome to Morning Rush.
Thank you very much for having me over here.
Now, Dr. Nyoni, let's talk about Baobab first. What is Baobab Education Assessment Center all about?
Baobab is a private organization. We believe in 4 pillars. First one is awareness. We work with learners that have learning difficulties. Mm-hmm. We believe that awareness is key. A lot of people, not only communities, but also educators, have no idea what we're talking about when we talk about learning difficulties. Yeah. And so once we've done awareness, you see where we have challenges in terms of people labeling kids and saying you are dull, you are a slow learner, you're giving all these labels. Once we have done the awareness, we then look at pillar number 2, which is assessment. At Baobab, we believe that multidisciplinary approach to assessment is key. Currently, we have situations where you find one specialist assessing a child, but that assessment is biased towards that specialist area. And so at Baobab, we believe in multi-disciplinary assessment, where we have an educational psychologist, we have a speech and language therapist, we have an occupational therapist, and we have a social worker, and we have a remedial therapist. We realize that these first 4 are not generally classroom practitioners, but they are key in terms of saying this child has attention deficit with hyperactivity disorder. But at the end of the day, at the end of the assessment, we want to bring this assessment to the classroom environment. And so we then have the remedial therapist who then looks at this assessment, these results.
So you use that assessment now to try and benefit the child's educational path.
Right.
So now you know what the issues are, so you can now teach and deal with those child by child and be specific. Is that the key?
Definitely.
Okay.
And
Right.
with you saying all of that, I don't know if it's something that you do at your home. If you have your child, Alex, is this something that you pick up on? Because some parents, we don't know that this is actually an area that needs to be sorted out. How do you get to filling up your centers with children that need help? How do you get out there and how do you identify them? Because most parents don't even know. They'll just deem the child dull, as you said, hagoni. So how do you sort that out?
The schools are the key component, because they have that idea that there are learning difficulties.
Right.
For instance, the ministry has the school psychological services, which offers the assessment. And so, again, it comes back to awareness. So that department is meant to go out and inform parents.
Yeah, but the issue, of course, as you know yourself, Doc, is the overcrowding in classrooms, the fact that teachers can't really give attention to individual 50 children at one time. As well, like I had a case where a child was called dull and whatever, but only because I reading problems reading the board.
The board.
It was just sitting too far. They couldn't see the board, therefore they didn't do the work. Now they were dumb and they were dull and no one gave them attention. Meanwhile, the moment they got glasses, they were perfect. But anyway, but at least you're there to try and stimulate education and also try and make sure that no one is left behind in the education space.
Very true.
Right. Now, when we talk about education, obviously in Zimbabwe, we're talking about colour, which is something that was introduced. And this is a huge debate everywhere. Like, what does colour mean? Is it good? And things like that. And recently, the heritage assessment practice has just been approved. So, speaking about colour and how you come into the field of training, how is this affecting the children, number one, the parents and the teachers?
See, when you bring in a new curriculum, you're looking at a 360 approach to everything. The parents are a key component, right? And if we ignore the parents, we are going to have a challenge, which is what we faced when colour was introduced, because parents were up in arms because they didn't know what the benefit was. And so it's key that we bring in the parents. It's key that we bring in the teachers. The teachers had no idea on what they were meant to do.
You know, Doc, I ask you about parents, because it's something that we've spoken about many times, and we've always been saying that parents should be more involved in their children's education. I think we've got to a point where we wake up, take them to school, pick them up, and that's it. You know, we come home from work 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, have dinner, go to bed, and the kids are sort of left alone to the teachers.
Very true.
But so I need you to talk to the parents. I mean, the parents, to us, maybe you can verify this, need to be more involved in their children's education. What are your thoughts?
That's very, very true. It comes back to that 360 approach. The school will have the learners at a particular time, particular hours, and the parents will have the kids for the rest of the day. And so parents are expected to help the learner with their homework, right? But the school hasn't equipped the parent to understand what colour is, right? And so the parent will wake up 4 a.m., go into a WhatsApp group and say, can I have this? What are the answers to this? Right?
So nobody's really helped anybody.
So the kids are not doing the work, and the parents are doing the work, because it's easier for me to go Google it, send something, and then walk away.
Yeah. So what then you have at the end of the day, you have this kid doing very well on homework, right? Getting 10 out of 10 throughout the year. Yeah. But come exam time, he fails.
Yeah.
Right? And again, the school, for me, the school at times is a little bit unfair in that come consultation day, the teacher is aware that this kid is not functioning, is not doing well. But during homework time, he does well, right? And so he should bring it to the attention of the parent that, look, who is doing homework?
Yeah, because there's something wrong here.
There's something wrong here.
But, but that's really critical, and we've always said as well, and even when we talk to the Ministry of Education, we cannot put the livelihoods and the future of our children on a 2-hour exam. It doesn't make any sense.
True.
You work for 7 years, you have a 2-hour exam, you fail, and suddenly you're out of school, you've got nothing. Yeah. That doesn't make any sense, because it doesn't mean that you're dumb. Just because you can't pass an exam, it's wrong.
Yeah, it's very, very true, because what you actually, when you are actually testing that, you're not testing the knowledge, you're testing the recall.
Exactly. The child can I learn from a book? Can I memorize?
Can I memorize? Right? And so colour comes in and says, when implemented well, comes in and says, let's see you work through a project. Let's see you, do you understand? Do you understand changings? Do you understand time management? Do you understand looking at an idea and solving a problem? Right? Do you understand research? Do you understand putting together and presenting your findings, right? And it's okay to start at a very early age.
No, I think it should do. I think colour should be from ECD all the way. I don't think it should just be at certain grades. I think it should be all the way. You should be assessed all the way up. But I'm just heritage-based.
Yeah, this is what my next question is going to be. It's heritage-based. First of all, what does it mean? Second of all, what are the challenges that especially children with learning difficulties will have with this new curriculum?
And if I may add, you have colour, which is already confusing to parents. And now we're throwing in another thing on top of that. So you've still got colour. Now you've got heritage-based. I mean, how do they work together? And is this even worse for parents?
Actually, it's not worse, it's not two different entities coming together, right? It's an expansion of, when we talk of heritage-based, we are saying let our education take into consideration the heritage, the culture, the surroundings, the environment that the kids live in.
In other words, don't learn about World War II. Let's learn about our own fights in King Roman Gularis, which makes sense, because I don't want to know about Hitler. I want to know about what's happening in Africa in my own land.
Yes, and it also helps the child to solve problems within the community where they live.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I also like the issues like the financial part of it. I think that's important. Yeah, I think that's critical, because financial skills are going to be necessary. I like the technological part, because we're all moving into an IT system. It's interesting, but does it change the role that parents have? Like now at Colour, they still have to sit with their kids after work, tired after work for hours. Does it change the way parents have to do anything?
It doesn't change the way parents, the involvement of parents in this activity. But what it needs to say is this, let's change the mindset of the parents. Let's tell the parents why color. What is the benefit of color, right? Take, for instance, a learner who's dyslexic and has reading problems and writing problems, right? Color then comes in and says, I identify that this child, this learner is dyslexic and they cannot read or write properly. So instead of assessing through writing, let me find another way of assessing that same concept, but maybe through dramatization, maybe through modeling, maybe through doing a project.
What about the amount of work? Color had, what, 36 subjects? Was it 36? I mean, that's a lot of work. Does this add on to that 36?
Yep.
I mean, does it suddenly go up if we have this heritage? Because 36 is way too much for a kid.
No,
I don't know what people think, but whoa.
No, the heritage then, basic education is bringing down that.
That 36 will come down.
I think they are coming down to, initially we had about 11 projects, but they are coming down to about 5, 6. And this is a rolling thing I'm thinking about for the next 1 or 2 years.
Yeah. So this, you know how we were complaining that parents are doing most of the work. I did hear that it's going to be, this heritage assessment is going to be based more on projects being done now at the school rather than at home.
Yeah.
And how equipped are the teachers, and what is going to be done about helping them understand? Because do they understand, first of all, this new heritage assessment that has just come in?
Right. That's where the key components of the heritage-based involve personnel, which is training, and so the government wants to bring the teachers up to the level where they understand that they are learning difficulties. They understand that there are different ways in which a learner can learn. There are different ways in which assessment can be done, not only from a paper and pen and paper thing.
Doc, you make a very good point, because one thing about colour which is still there is the teachers' union said that their teachers were not trained in colour. They didn't even themselves understand it. Now on top of that, where they're supposed to not understand it, you're sticking in heritage-based. So I think then now that implies, I'm thinking, or allegedly, that the teachers themselves will be even worse off trained because they don't know colour. And now what about the heritage-based? How effectively are they training these guys, right?
But this is what he's talking about, that they're bringing in workshops.
Yeah, they're bringing.
Yeah, but they tried to do that with colour, and the teachers still complained and said that they didn't know enough, particularly in rural schools.
But remember, it's a program that is rolling.
It's
that
ongoing.
is not. Yeah, it's ongoing.
Okay.
And so again, the key thing is that the teacher training curriculum should change or should bring in the new components that are there. So
there you go.
The new graduates that are coming out will already be trained in this setup.
I hope so.
Yeah.
So this whole colour system, Doc, is beneficial, you are saying?
Yes.
It's something that we should not shun or fight.
Yep.
And as you know, the questions will always keep rising up. It's an ongoing process. We give it a good 5, 6, 7 years before we can actually say, no, it's not working.
Yep.
So, I mean, just maybe a word of encouragement to the teachers or to what Baobab is about and to the schools. What will be your last words for that?
Saying colour is there to help to create an inquiry-based learner, right? A learner who will go out and ask questions.
Yeah.
Rather than a learner who will just regurgitate the properties of a locust.
And
right?
also give the learner the tools to get a good career in this new world. Because when you do math, geography, chemistry, well, I mean, I don't know whether we did Pythagoras' theorem at school. I've never used it, right? I've never used it, and I'm a banker. Right? Yeah. But now at least if I know about tech, I know about AI, I can go out there and do something and get a good job. That I'm hoping is what we're trying to achieve. A nation of entrepreneurs, a nation of thinkers, a nation of business people, a nation of guys that can actually ask the questions.
Yes. The heritage-based is making learning relevant.
Yeah, I like that.
Right. Makes learner relevant. When the child comes out after A level, he is able to survive within the community.
That is perfect. Right.
And it's very good. I love the whole inclusion of the individuality of learning. Dr. Nyoni, we have run out of time. We could sit down and talk about this all day.
The whole day.
Because it's something that's very important right here in our hearts on Morning Rush, and obviously for the people and the viewers that are watching as well. So thank you so much for joining us this morning. A bit of an early start, but it's a good start to
a very good start.
Dr. Nyoni, thank you, sir. Have a great day and good luck to Baobab, and keep up the good work.
Yes.
Keep educating. educating our children.
Thank you
We
very
need
much.
you.
Thank you very much.
Konapo, Ipapo pa ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294, the place to be.